Support.
The maestro, please!
Well, we made up for not having any jazz last week, because jazz is all we have this week. This'll be for the week of
March 26th, 2019.
On this day in music back in 1795, a 24-year-old Ludwig van Beethoven made his debut as a pianist in Vienna. Oddly enough, also on this day in music in 1827, 20,000 people in Vienna attended the burial of Ludwig van Beethoven. You know, I already kind of spoiled the fact that the only thing we're talking about is jazz, so are all the rest of these segments really even needed?
Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
Do you smile to tempt a lover, Mona Lisa? Or is this your way?
I hope you like Nat King Cole, because you're going to be seeing him a lot this year. It's his centennial. And normally with albums like this, they have 100 songs and are like $80, but this one is a much more reasonable length, and therefore a much more reasonable price.
I can be something you believe, something you can't believe.
They haven't released an album since 2007, so if you've been dying for the next Cinematic Orchestra drop, here you go. It's on the jazz charts because a lot of the featured vocalists are prevalent in the jazz scene, so despite the fact that it's an orchestra, it being in the jazz charts at least makes a little bit of sense. Everyone's favorite jam band, and they have some interesting instruments on this album. They have the typical ones: keyboard, guitar, bass, drums, trumpet, saxophone, but they also have a violin, both a normal and alto flute, a bansuri, an oud, a flugelhorn. So if you want to hear some interesting instruments in a jam band, I can recommend it.
Singing.
I'm just waiting for a Joan Jett's Greatest Hits album so I can continue that audio clip. Given that song was originally performed by the Arrows in 1975, it was made popular by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts in 1982. On that same note, I don't think we're ever gonna get a Greatest Hits of Dead Prez, unless maybe it's in a Kanye West production discography release, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. On that same note, I don't think we're gonna get a Darude's Greatest Hits, because it would just be Sandstorm, and last I checked, he didn't like Sandstorm that much.
And now I need some help from the maestro, please!
So you think you can stop me and spit my eye? So you think you can love me and leave me?
Supposedly they're already making a sequel to this? How would that even work?
Yeah, I know I'm probably too much. Yeah, sometimes I just be OD. Yeah. I was gonna go and try to fall asleep, but I got too much.
Well, since last we talked about this, it went gold in Canada.
We're far from the shallow now. In the shallow.
It was Lady Gaga's birthday yesterday, so I guess if you want to get her a late birthday present, you can listen to the soundtrack some more, because apparently the rest of the world is still doing it.
And for that I say thank you. Next, thank you. Next, thank you. Next, I'm so fucking grateful for my...
She embarked on a tour this month, the Sweetener World Tour, obviously meant to promote Sweetener, as well as Thank You Next. So if you liked Thank You Next, but didn't like Sweetener, but you really want to see Thank You Next songs live, you're gonna have to grit and bear through the Sweetener stuff.
She told me put my heart in the bag, and nobody gets hurt. Now I'm running from your love, I'm not fast, so
I went to a trivia thing this week, and one of the questions was, what is the current artist for the #1 album, Death Race for Love? Obviously, I knew the answer and kind of let everyone in the bar know that I knew the answer. Regardless, don't ever say that this show doesn't have real-life applications. So, the old pop hits, as well as some new jazz. And if you don't like jazz, well, come back next week.
And now I need some help from the maestro, please! Maestro!